Restless Legs Syndrome, also known as RLS, has been described as the most common condition you've never heard of. And the chances are, if you don't have it, someone you know does.
Deep throbbing pain.
Tingly feeling.
Almost like bubbles below the skin.
Restless leg syndrome is a condition that gives sufferers strange sensations in their legs and an unstoppable urge to move them every single day.
It's just impossible to try and stay still.
In this documentary, we meet restless leg sufferers like Seema,
I'm a hostage.
whose shocking condition has left her living like a hermit and divorced.
I don't go out much. I used to be quite a socially active person, but I'm not anymore.
Terry, whose body
Broken 3 toes.
and mind have been damaged.
What am I doing? Why am I here? What did I do this for?
Jenny,
I don't want to be the reason for our relationship failing.
who feels her condition is putting her relationship at risk.
That's the line, don't cross it.
And John, a nocturnal pensioner whose legs give him suicidal thoughts.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, the only thing that's there are the sometimes terrible thoughts that go through your mind.
1 in 10 of us will suffer from restless legs at some point in our lives. These are the stories of 4 people trying to fight this unbearable and, for some, incurable condition.
People with RLS ultimately can feel isolated. They're not going out for social events because they can't sit still. All of that means that they're very much on their own. I think anything which leaves you feeling trapped, leaves you feeling there's no way out, is a very depressing feeling.
I'm a hostage. I'm held against my wishes, against my desires. There's no ransom. There's no way of getting out of this. I'm a hostage.
42-year-old Seema first experienced symptoms at university. It started out as a minor ache in her calf a few hours per week. But now, 22 years later, she feels buzzing and pain in both legs and feet every day.
It's 10:15 on Wednesday evening.
This extraordinary footage is a real recording of Seema's extreme restless legs.
It's Friday evening, 7:40.
Seema can get up to 4 attacks a day, each lasting for 3 to 4 hours, during which her feet tap over 100 times per minute.
I haven't slept last night at all. My legs were really bad. It's been non-stop today as well.
Seema's condition also had an influence on the breakup of her marriage.
He just couldn't understand why I couldn't lie still in the bed at night. And I used to be sort of like tossing and turning, really wanted to shake my legs, and he just couldn't understand it. And those days I didn't know what it was, so I couldn't explain it to him either. So after a few weeks of our marriage, he used to go and sleep in the spare room because he just couldn't stay in the same bed with me because I just couldn't settle. And I think that was one of the reasons he put down in the divorce papers as well, is that he couldn't share a bed with me.
Her symptoms are so bad that she avoids many social situations, leaving her isolated.
I am a hermit. I've lost a lot of human contact. I'm quite isolated, and I work from home as well, so my isolation factor's even more. I don't go out much. I used to be quite a socially active person, but I'm not anymore because I can't do dinners, I can't do cinema, I can't have a lot of people sitting around me. Social life is virtually nil at the moment.
Seema's condition has taken so much from her that she has decided to fight back and prove that her restless legs do not control her life. We will be with Seema as she goes on a rare outing into public and faces her RLS head-on.
Everybody has their own coping strategy. They'll rub their legs, they'll bang their legs together, and the more bizarre end of things, people will actually hit their legs. And it's all to give this extra stimulation, and it then switches off the RLS better than just moving the legs alone.
If I can inflict pain that doesn't require hospitalisation, then brilliant. bring it on.
70-year-old John has had restless legs since he was 20. Back when it started, he would experience a buzzing sensation in one of his feet for just 1 hour per evening. Now, after 50 years of deterioration, he suffers non-stop pain throughout the night, every night. Tonight, John's symptoms have already begun. His shaking leg is an early sign of a severe attack.
Shakes are really bad.
John gets an average of 2.5 hours sleep per night because he is always disturbed by his restless legs.
The RLS, it's as if you dampen 2 fingers and put them on a 12-volt battery and it gives you that little kick. You have to move your legs. It's just impossible to try and stay still.
Alison, his wife, feels that a lack of sleep has ravaged John's body.
He used to be a very fit man. I see him ageing. I see him ageing quite rapidly.
If you could can it, bottle it, use it, it would be a brilliant torture method. It really, really would.
But John doesn't give in to the sensations. During years of sleepless nights, he has been perfecting methods of dealing with his restless legs. Methods that are so extreme, he has tried to keep them a secret from Alison.
She'd probably go ballistic.
An estimated 1 in 10 of us will at some point in our lives suffer from a condition called Restless Legs Syndrome. People with the condition have an irresistible urge to move their legs, sometimes with devastating results.
Hello, hi. Thank you.
Seema has had restless legs for over 20 years. It has left her divorced, with very few friends, and living most of her life alone.
Unfortunately, there are some people who will not be able to treat their RLS. And in those cases, we really have to look at helping them to learn to live with the condition rather than cure the condition.
Refusing to give in to her condition, Seema is psyching herself up for a battle with her restless legs.
It should be interesting because the last time I walked out of it, ended up with nail varnish on one foot and not on the other. So hopefully I can sit through the whole thing today, which I doubt, but we'll try.
She is doing the pedicure to defy her RLS, despite the excruciating pain and embarrassment it causes.
I do these pedicures to defeat it, to defeat RLS, to say you do not control me. I have some control over you. It is an hour of hell, but for me, the end result will be worth it. Thank you. The way I'm feeling right now is I'm really anxious. My legs are really bad today. They're really giving me grief. The more I get agitated, the worse it gets. For me, that's a trigger where it makes it worse, so you're constantly in a vicious circle where you're trying to overcome these feelings, but the more you get worked up about it, the more the crawling sensation intensifies, the throbbing pain intensifies.
The treatment Seema is having costs £50. And for most people, it's an enjoyable hour of pampering.
Sorry, 1 minute.
But for her, it's torture. To get rid of the tingling sensation of her restless legs, Seema likes to move her feet. She can't do that right now, leaving her extremely distressed.
I'll be sitting there, she'll be massaging my legs or doing whatever she'll be doing, but the thought that will be going through my mind is, when will this stop so I can get out of here? When can I get moved? When can I get out? That's all that will be going through my head while I'm sitting there. Is that the mask? Yeah. Okay.
A key part of the treatment involves wrapping Seema's feet in plastic, leaving her immobile.
any confined space or anything where I cannot move freely, it makes it worse. I'm not sure why. I just need loads of space when I'm having an episode, let's call it that.
So we left on for about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, thanks.
For the next 10 minutes, Seema must stay where she is, keeping her feet as still as possible. But her restless leg symptoms are getting worse.
It's a crawling of, well, what to me it feels like a crawling of 1,000 spiders up and down your leg. You have an intense, deep throbbing pain just at the back of your calf. It chips away at you over time. Oh, that's fine, it's good.
The spa therapist is now ready to paint Seema's nails,
Oh, dear Lord.
but it'll have to wait. Unless she can re-emerge, Seema has lost her battle with restless leg syndrome.
It's easy if you're not a sufferer and you meet someone with RLS that you might not have very much sympathy. But actually, once you've got the condition, you'll realise it has a much greater impact than other people might imagine.
Picked myself up off the floor and then had a look around my bedroom and I smashed it up, completely smashed it up. There was a broken chair, pillows were all on the floor, the mattress was half up against the wall.
41-year-old Terry was suddenly hit by restless leg syndrome at the age of 18. Now, throughout the daytime, he suffers from the symptoms.
I've described it before as between cramp and pins and needles, but even that doesn't cut the mustard.
But in his sleep, restless leg syndrome is replaced with periodic limb movement. Periodic limb movement, also known as PLM, is a condition in which sufferers' limbs move involuntarily, kicking out without any warning.
People with RLS will often have major problems getting off to sleep, but if they have periodic limb movements, which about 80 to 90% of individuals do have, then even once they're asleep, they'll have very disrupted sleep.
Woke up with splinters, woke up in really weird positions.
Nearly every night, Terry is disturbed by his thrashing legs. At their worst, they move every few seconds.
Broken 3 toes plus 2 fractured toes. I think it's 2 broken fingers, numerous nosebleeds, a fractured hand. Cashed my head loads of times, just about 2 weeks ago, I'm still recovering from one. Lacerated my back on a glass ashtray.
According to his doctor, Terry's memory is also taking a battering from his periodic limb movement.
So we know that sleep and memory are closely linked. In fact, one of the presumed functions of sleep is to consolidate memory. So in addition to problems taking in new information, you also have problems consolidating memory and encoding it in your brain for long-term usage.
Because of my restless leg and everything that came with it. 41, and I've essentially got the memory of someone twice my age or more.
Terry's decimated memory has left him unable to learn new skills and therefore unable to find work.
Got made redundant and so forth. I thought I'd become a black cab driver. Obviously, this is back before I knew what was going on, what RLS was. Because I was having trouble sleeping, I couldn't do the knowledge.
Unable to work, but desperate to support his partner Claire, who has a full-time job, Terry has taken on the responsibility of the household chores, something he takes very seriously.
I think Terry needs to have something that makes him feel like he's doing something and make him feel like he's contributing. Having somebody that is doing those things enables me to carry on going to work and doing stuff. It has made a big difference.
Every day before work, Claire gives Terry a handful of tasks to get through during the day.
Right.
So I asked him to sort out the washing. The dog was sick in the car on the weekend and we removed the cover and it never quite found its way back into the car again. I asked him to have a look at the bathroom door because there's a bit of a hand stain underneath it and have a go. Our barbecue, the cover blew off, so I asked him to just sort that out and take a CD round to my mum, which I've already mentioned to him. I mentioned it to him yesterday, but it didn't happen.
Terry is wasting no time getting stuck into the chores. He's already halfway through sorting out the barbecue.
I know I had to do that because that was in an awful state because of the storm thing that we had. And we had a bit of an accident with the car seat, so I know that's got to be done. Outside of the usual housework, I can't think of a thing, but I know there was stuff.
Jenny from East Sussex first noticed something was wrong 5 years ago when her legs started to ache, causing her to fidget. 18 months ago, it got worse when she also started to experience a fizzing sensation in them.
Almost like bubbles below the skin. Sometimes it's accompanied with some pain. When it gets really bad, then there is more pain. You have to keep moving because otherwise it just becomes unbearable.
Last year, she was diagnosed with Restless Legs Syndrome. The standard drugs available do not work for Jenny, but she has discovered that she can temporarily stop the pain and tingling by doing constant activity. One thing she chooses to do is spend hours working in her already impeccable garden.
To get out here, dig, move stuff around, tidy up, maybe 2 or 3 trips to the local tip. It's a distraction, stops me from thinking about what's going on with my legs.
After the gardening, Jenny takes her dog for a 10-mile walk.
Our dog. He's getting on a bit, and I can walk him up to 3 hours a day, which, according to some of the nurses at the local vets, is a phenomenal amount of exercise for a dog of his age.
Having walked the dog, it's time for 2 more hours of gardening. But eventually, sapped of energy, she can do no more. Jenny is settling down next to her husband, Grant. Being stationary, she's now at the mercy of her restless legs.
Once it starts, it's almost like a snowball effect. You move because you feel uncomfortable, and then it crescendos into your feet moving quite a lot, or your legs moving quite a lot, to try and alleviate the issue.
Yes, put them on your side.
Sorry. Can't help it.
I know you can't, but I actually don't want it rubbing on my leg tonight.
Try not to. My shin's out today, more than anything. We've been together for probably about 10 or 11 years. He didn't meet me with RLS. He probably met a very different person than I am now.
What do they hurt of? What pain?
Difficult to describe it. It's like that tonight is like an aching.
I hate rubbing. When she gets going, it's constant rubbing, and it's against the sofa and her own feet, the footstool, and you just think, will you just stop making noise?
Don't do that.
I don't want to let him down, I don't want to be the reason for our relationship failing.
This condition has a significant impact on quality of life, to the extent that it could be equated to a condition like type 2 diabetes in terms of its impact on quality of life.
John has lived with restless legs for 50 years, and tonight he is suffering from a severe attack. While his wife Alison is sound asleep, John is becoming desperate.
It's strong, I would say, and it's the feeling of a... if you could put a buzz into a feeling, that's what it's like. You've just got to move your legs. You've got no alternative, really. You can't ride through these when they're like that. But usually.
John will do anything to try to stop the excruciating pain of his restless legs.
So occasionally, you need a distraction. You need something else to think about. So my preferred method will cause pain.
John doesn't want Alison, his wife, to know what he's up to. So he makes sure that all of his methods are very quiet. Also, to avoid arousing suspicion, he uses everyday objects to inflict the pain, hoping to leave no evidence.
There's a sharp edge under the cooker, causes that little bit of pain that gives you that feeling, thinking something else rather than the RLS, as a diversionary tactic.
Keeping his nighttime habits a secret from Alison means that John spends a lot of time by himself.
Loneliness in the dead of night is a frightening time. It can be a frightening time. Although you've got the support and love of your family, your partner, your wife, your husband, whatever, at 2 and 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, they're not there. The only thing that's there are the sometimes terrible thoughts that go through your mind.
If you're having those black thoughts, the word is suicide, obviously. I come out here, sit and contemplate, turn around and look at the house and see what we've got, what I'd be losing, and the loss of that fantastic woman I've got. I couldn't do that to her. I couldn't do it to the family either, really. But it doesn't stop you thinking about, wouldn't it be nice to do that? And just sleep. Sleep.
Restless leg syndrome is a damaging condition that can strike at any age. Minor symptoms might simply cause someone to fidget. But at the extreme end of the scale, lives can be ruined.
I've seen people who have been severe enough that they are unable to sit down for more than a minute or two because they find it so severe. And so that can have a really major psychological impact on your life, where you're unable to undertake activities that you take for granted, like sitting down and watching the television, or actually sitting at a table having dinner with somebody.
Jenny has severe restless leg syndrome.
I'm so tired, absolutely knackered. It's just driving me mad today. It's probably the worst it's been for a long time.
Over the last 18 months, her symptoms have got much worse. Now she is hounded by the condition 24/7.
I didn't sleep at all last night, feeling really, really tired today.
Jenny and her husband Grant are still trying to relax in front of the TV. But Jenny's restless legs are spoiling Grant's evening.
That's frustrating.
Why?
Not for you, for me, it's that.
You'll get a foot lashing out or feet rubbing together, little kicks That's all it takes, or a sudden movement of her hand to scratch her leg, rub her leg. It's just like a constant battle, and you sit there and you try to ignore it, but when you get kicked 5, 6, 7 times, you just think, geez, what's going on here?
Do they feel worse tonight?
Yeah.
Because it'll irritate me if you carry on, because I'm tired, I've had enough.
I know. I'll try and keep him still. It's really hard.
When Jen sits next to me on the sofa, she'll curl her legs up underneath her, and invariably her feet touch my legs. And for me, she's crossed the line because she's on my side of the sofa.
Don't do that. That's the line. Don't cross it.
But don't do it on purpose.
I didn't say you did.
Jenny and Grant's frustration doesn't stop at bedtime. Because most nights, Jenny's restless legs wake her up after a few hours, disturbing their sleep.
Often I find I have to get up out of the bed and then I'll go into the spare room and spend the rest of the night there, because I find it really difficult to go back off to sleep. And it's not fair to expect my husband to do the same.
Jenny is worried about the damage her restless legs are doing to their relationship.
I like to think that if you're going to go to sleep next to somebody in the same bed, it would be quite nice to wake up with the same person and find that they're next to you. And I think that from the point of view of a good relationship, I think that's important. So I'd like to make sure that it doesn't kind of get between us, because that would be sad.
Terry believes his short-term memory has been damaged by years of poor sleep, all because of his restless legs. Today, he's been working his way through 5 household chores left for him by his partner, Claire. His poor memory is making it very difficult for him.
I sometimes think that it must be like living with someone that's got really early stage Alzheimer's.
I must spend probably about half hour a day at least, I would imagine, walking into a room and then wondering why I walked in there. It was my mate Gary's birthday yesterday. Just got a text from Claire. I forgot about that. Yeah. I do remember my phone going at some point last night, the night before, and then you think, oh, I best check that a bit later. Then I get distracted and I forget to check it. I might have to give Gary a ring, and let's hope he's still talking to me. It comes to something when your own girlfriend's got to remind you when it's your mate's birthdays. You all right, girl? It's only me, it's Tel. Sorry about yesterday. I didn't realise it was your birthday. Happy birthday for yesterday, mate.
Typically, Terry forgets things that are out of sight.
Ta-ra, bye.
And he has just forgotten the dirty laundry in his washing machine. Six hours later, Claire is back from work.
That's the cover.
As well as not putting the mat back in the car, Terry has forgotten to deliver the CD package, clean the bathroom door, and he's left the laundry festering in the washing machine.
Darling, when did you do the washing?
Oh, this afternoon. It won't smell.
Do you know what? Don't worry about it. Let me do it when you go out. He is a grown-up and he tries to be a grown-up. He wants to be the best that he can possibly be. You know that it's not intentional. You know that he doesn't want to be like he is.
You feel like a child. Or the opposite, you feel like you're a lot older than what you are.
What is it that hasn't been done today? We got bathroom door.
Bathroom door.
Claire knows that due to his restless legs and periodic limb movement, Terry's memory isn't going to improve anytime soon. So she is taking matters into her own hands.
So you've got to go to doctors. Mum needs her Amazon thing.
Well, Claire's come up with the idea of using sticky notes so that I can remember what my daily chores are, really. With Post-it notes, we can stick them where I'm going to see them. Almost embarrassing as it is to have these Post-it notes about the place. At the same time, it is a solution.
It is quite striking that a 40-year-old man needs to have Post-it notes to remind him to do something. But Terry's not a typical 40-year-old man with a typical set of health conditions, so it's the best worst-case scenario, I suppose.
Seema has suffered from restless legs for 20 years. During an attack, she gets intense pain and tingling in her feet and legs.
It's fine, it's good, it's good.
She was halfway through a pedicure,
Oh, dear Lord.
but found it impossible to continue due to an intense restless legs attack.
Everyday things like you just take for granted. Like we come here, we paint our nails whenever we want to on our breaks and that, and then obviously she can't just go about things a whole different way, and it is quite hard, and it's quite obviously upsetting.
To be honest, the way I feel at this moment, I feel like walking out. I don't think I can do it, but I'm getting really anxious now. I'm getting really agitated because the thought of sitting there, not being able to move as much as I need to move, it's getting me upset. It's not fun at all. It's all about the defiance. Because if I walk out halfway, then it's beating me, hasn't it? I'm not going to let it beat me. I'm not going to let it win. Yeah.
So we're going to stick with that sort of tangerine.
I think we'll try that one.
Seema has plucked up the courage to re-emerge. But to beat her RLS, she'll need to stay still for a little bit longer.
Just stop whenever you need to.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know about you, but this is exhausting me. It's difficult, it's hard, it is really, really hard. But you have to do it, you can't stop your life. It's controlling a lot of it, so you have to do what you can when you can, and just take it.
Seema has been at the clinic for twice the amount of time most customers need.
They look amazing, thank you.
But her nails are done.
I did it. I got my pedicure done, I've got my nails painted. It was stressful, it was tiring, it was painful, but it's worth it. The point is that I defeated it. I defeated it. I won. Without RLS, I would be Seema. I would be the girl I used to be, who was happy and go-lucky. He was, socially active, very socially active. Whatever the term normal means, I just want to be normal again. I just don't want to be dominated by RLS anymore. I just want to be me again, really.
It's 4:30 a.m. and John is in the middle of a restless legs attack. During an attack like this, John uses self-inflicted pain to distract himself from the miserable sensations of restless legs.
Pain is a great friend when it's 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and you've been awake 24, 36, 48 hours or struggling for those hours.
John hides his painful techniques from his partner, Alison, as he feels she would disapprove. But right now, she is stirring. Alison has just caught John's self-inflicting pain by crushing his foot with the leg of a wooden chair. This is the first time in their 22-year relationship Alison has witnessed John inflicting such severe pain on himself.
I worked for many years with people that had mental health issues, and I've seen a lot of people self-harming. And I know the reasons why people self-harm. But I never ever thought that I would see. I never thought I'd see somebody that I loved doing that.
Right now, John's restless legs are at their most painful, so Alison is staying with him.
I've never seen him as bad as this.
With his secret out, in full view of Alison, John turns to his most extreme technique.
Another plan.
No, don't, John.
It's Jenny and Grant's wedding anniversary, so they're going for a meal, hoping for one night of normality, away from the irritation of restless legs.
Yeah, tonight we and Jen are going out for a meal down at a local restaurant, just to make up for the bad week we've been having.
So when you go to a restaurant, you have that underlying feeling that perhaps you may end up spoiling it for the people that you're with.
Partners often get frustrated, not only because they're being affected, but also because they can see that their spouse is getting worse, and they want their partner to get better.
For the last 18 months, Grant has been frustrated by Jenny's constant fidgeting, caused by her restless legs. But he's working on it for the sake of their relationship. And with Jenny's legs already starting to fidget, he has a chance to prove himself.
So how's your legs? I could see you joggling up and down just now.
I don't know, I'm trying not to. Sorry. I keep kicking the post.
The post?
Yeah.
It makes change for my legs.
Ultimately, down the line, RLS can affect all aspects of people's lifestyle, whether it's work, whether it's the ability to go out and enjoy themselves. Often relationships with wives, husbands and partners are also affected.
So, what's the feeling like now in your legs?
So at the moment, they are... The sensation is that you want to move them because they're kind of achy and tingly at the same time. And my knees are annoying me, really annoying me. And then the fizzing is below that leg.
I understand she's not doing any of this on purpose, and the hardest thing for me is that Jen's going through what she's going through and she thinks it's putting a wedge between us. She thinks that this is going to ruin everything. It won't ruin everything.
Whatever happens, we'll work through it. I'm tolerant and I understand that you can't do anything about it. It's frustrating, but it doesn't detract from the fact that I love you and I will support you and we'll do what we can together.
I think he's probably a lot more patient than a lot of people would imagine. He does his best, bless him. And I appreciate that because I think living with somebody who was anxious about something like this must be very difficult. Yeah, very difficult.
I love you and I'll put up with your manky feet. And your shocking legs.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Tonight, John was caught by Alison, his partner, hurting himself. Something he does for distraction from the unbearable sensation of restless legs syndrome.
Until just recently, she didn't know some of the crazy things that I do, i.e. trying to lift a cooker with my toes, trapping my foot between the door and the door frame, and it came as quite a shock, I think. I think she now knows that I do it for a perfectly good reason, in my mind anyway, and she'll just let me get on with it, basically.
Alison has decided to stand by John and his shocking techniques.
I think you can learn to accept anything if it helps. I think if it brings John any sort of relief, then I would accept it. Is it calming down a wee bit? Yeah?
Seems to be.
John only gets restless legs at night, and with sunrise approaching, he will now enjoy 12 hours without suffering.
Whew, that's a bit better.
Thank God for that.
As soon as that daylight appears, your mind, it's as if it clicks a switch and you're back to normal living again. Or as normal as an RLS sufferer's life can be.
But he knows that as soon as the sun sets this evening, he'll have to go through hell once again.
It's often been said that restless legs syndrome, RLS, is the most common disease you've never heard of. And I really hope that people will get to hear about it, because until you hear about it, you're not going to go and get treatment.
If I didn't have these symptoms with my legs, I believe that I wouldn't be so anxious. I believe that I would be back to my old self and enjoying life a lot more again.
I'd say the restless leg has closed a lot of doors, but I'd say the future's good because of the people I've got around me, more than anything else. Solutions like the post-it notes have all culminated in me having a good life. I think it all bodes well for the future, personally.
Strangely enough, I think RLS has made our relations stronger.
If I totally let this rule my life, I won't do anything in life. I won't go anywhere, I won't talk to anyone. I will just be sitting at home all day, every day, just because my legs are going to dominate me. You know, they've taken away quite a lot already. I'm not going to let them take away everything. You just get on with it.